morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, creepy friends. Welcome to Slams and Bobs. And it's time for another Thunderbirds vintage episode review. Yay! And you know what one it is. It's time for Moving You're Dead. Oh, feel. Yeah, just getting a bit of Pokemon in there for you. I told you last time that this would be this one's review because I've been dying to do it, and it's time to do it, and I'm so happy. It is one of my favourite episodes of the original Thunderbirds ever. I love it. So quick episode summary for everyone. The scene opens with Alan and Grandma on a bridge, and if they move, they blow up. Ah! They're gonna kill all the character! No, you can't do that. I'm feeling really melodramatic. I think I've just eaten too much sugar and it's just gone whoa to my head. It's a boiling hot day, which means poor old Alan is standing up while Grandma sat down, and he's just boiling hot and trying to cope with the midday sun. And then he has to try and call his brothers, so slowly, gingerly lifting the arm so that he doesn't set off anything that will blow him or his nanny up. The perpetrators have already taken off Alan's car. Just as they've taken off, they call International Rescue, and Jeff immediately launches Virgil and Scott, and then we have to try and work out exactly what's gone on and exactly why this has happened. So to keep Alan awake and to keep him, try and distract him from the heat and to keep his mind going, Jeff encourages him to tell him exactly what's gone on. So we find out that Alan had a couple of days leave from IR so that he could go and compete in a big race. He used to be a racer, as we find out. And he's got some people that are incredibly... That's ironic, I've got an email from Jamie Anderson at the same time with Thunderbirds information, yay! So Alan is going to be in a big televised race. He ultimately wins this race, but as we find out, there's someone called Gomez and his mate, whose name I can't remember. I'm really sorry, it's just flushed out of my mind. I remember Gomez, I think, because of The Sims, because you had the Gomez family on there, and no, that wasn't... Gomez Adams, let's say that, Gomez Adams, because I'm thinking Morticia, because I took Morticia to the alterations lady today for the wedding, yay. You don't know anything about that yet. Brains help make the car that Alan's driving, so he wants to know how it works. Alan ultimately wins the race, which then brings out the green-eyed monster even more so in Gomez and his mate, and they decide, we're going to off Alan Tracy. So their first ploy is to try and kill him when he's in the telecall booth talking to his grandma. Fortunately enough, Alan leaves just in time before they knock a car that smashes into the telecall booth. And he doesn't die, unfortunately. Unfortunately, you missed. That must have been a hell of a shock for poor old Alan to see that go up in smoke after you were just in there. But he didn't die, so they have to go to another ploy. So after Alan picks up Grandma to take her back to base, they lure them to a bridge that's actually out of use, threaten them with guns, and ultimately put them up on the bridge with a bomb. Alan isn't happy about this. He gets his angry face on. He gets the angry face on. Why you? And then they take the car, which leaves them stranded on a bridge, and this is all obviously leading up to the moment when we find Alan on the bridge. And in this time, of course, Jeff has dispatched Scott and Virgil. Now, Scott goes and deals with Gomez and his mate, who ultimately run themselves off the road in Alan's car, which therefore loses Alan the car and causes Gomez and his mate to fall to a very, very gruesome death. Camera battery nearly empty. I thought I'd last. While Virgil deals with rescuing Alan and Grandma. Now, they use kind of like a... Just as Virgil gets there, Alan's had it. He's not even able to communicate anymore. He's just, no, stay away, no. Which you can only imagine he will be. Virgil arrives just in time to catch Alan as he falls. Brains just neutralises the bomb to give them enough time to rescue Alan and Grandma, and just as they're going off the bridge, the bomb goes off. Everyone goes home happy, and there's a lovely abstract painting of Alan at the end, and a little bit of flirting between Alan and Tintin that leaves us all in a very happy mood at the end of the episode. Yay! At the start of the word, Alan said the words of death. Everything seemed perfect. Nothing could go wrong. Everybody knows, if you say that, something's gonna go wrong. Why did Virgil need to wear his full-on Thunderbird outfit when he took Alan to be dropped off for the race? He didn't need to. He was discreetly dropping Alan off somewhere, and suddenly he has to be in full Thunderbird attire for that. I don't understand why. He could have just gone in jeans and trousers. Jeans and trousers? He could have just gone in jeans and a t-shirt. You know, it's just one of them random things I noticed. He wasn't on a full-on mission, he was just dropping his brother off. I love Grandma Tracy's squeaky voice. We could be blown sky high! I love that voice. It's so adorable. I think because my own voice is quite deep. It's so cute, you just want to be your little G's, even though she's considerably older than us. I always wonder in this episode why Alan decided to stand up, why he didn't just immediately sit down on the bridge. Instead he stood, and that's obviously worth it. I mean, I have plantar fasciitis. I cannot stand still at the best of times because it murders my heels, and I have no arches either, so neither one, both of them just pain level on each other is ridiculous. I mean, he encouraged Grandma to sit down, but he didn't encourage himself to sit down, and I always think to himself, if you were doing that and he knows what the bomb is, just to sit down. It could at least prolong you for a bit longer, you know. There's a bit of bad editing in this episode. If you watch at the very, very start, where Alan calls Jeff's sitting behind the desk. Shots to Alan, shots back to Jeff. Suddenly he's sitting on the desk reading a newspaper. Sat the director of photography. I think the idea of the car stacker in this episode is really cool. It would be an absolute time saver. Rather than having to drive your car out, you just drop it off and someone does it for you. I think futuristic wise, people should look at that and go, maybe we should make that. Someone obviously thought that with Skype, didn't they? Thanks, Gerry Anderson, for that. The use of Alan in this episode is one of my favourite things because you're so hooked on him and linked to him emotionally in this episode. It's ridiculous. You're so concerned for his well-being, and you're just on edge with his suffering and his plight, and you know, the fact that he's in that midday sun, burning, getting delirious, getting sick. You're just so invested in him that you're like, oh no, Alan. And it's the baby brother, it's baby brother syndrome. You sympathise even more for that reason. The only issue I have slightly is that he's all delirious, falls off out unconscious, and suddenly you shoot to Thunderbird 2 and he's awake and no sunburn, no sweat, like nothing ever happened. Now, I've had sunstroke or heat stroke. I think I've had a bit of both. It was a warm day a few years ago and I walked into town, and it was about a half-hour walk, and I got sunstroke from doing it. When you're fair-skinned, and I don't take to heat very well, it just hits you. I was sick for a good long time. I was physically sick. I had the most banging headache. My temperature was up. I was pretty delirious. I was kind of a bit woozy. I remember it quite well. I was laid in the bed that I'm sitting on here, and I was like, nah, I can't do this tonight. I'm not working. I remember it very, very well. I remember doing everything. I remember the headache. I remember the pain and the sickness I was in. Everything ached. My back ached the next day. I was so uncomfortable. So there is no way after being in the midday sun like that he would just be okay like that. Maybe they quite didn't think that through. You know, it's not a knot to the episode. It's just another thing I noticed. I would love to see this one remade. If not for anything, for the use of facial expressions. I love the puppets, but when they're in that kind of situation where they're worried about each other, there's only so much you can get from the two expressions they have, and sort of the idea of being frantic. So when Jeff says to Scott and Virgil, you know, get in your crafts and go, there's sort of a little bit of urgency, but I'd love to see the physical running of brother in danger, save brother, and the facial expressions used on that, because it just, what? Gotta get to Alan, gotta get to Alan, oh my god, someone's done this. And I always picture in my mind when Scott is chasing Gomez and his mate down that road, just getting all sarcastic in the craft. Oh, so you tried to kill, oh look, he's trying to get away, I've got to run up. I can always just see that. That's just in my head though. There's also a few points in this that do go that bit slower, so seeing it transported into a half-an-hour episode wouldn't necessarily be a huge deal for me. I think it would work quite well. Fire Flash worked just fine as a 25-minute, half-hour episode. Why do we love this episode so much? I think it comes down to brother in danger syndrome again. It's the minute they put a character, a loved character in danger, we go, I love it. It's perfect. I don't know why that is. I think maybe we're so emotionally invested in every brother that we're like, if they're in danger, we're just going to cry, and we love the episode for that reason. Is it that? Is it? Do you know? Because I don't. The idea of the rescue and needing rescuing is kind of almost ironic in a way, but it's still also equally as cool. I wore my vintage cloak for you today. It's got like a furry, it's not real fur, I would never wear real fur. and it's got like all little beadies on the front. It's a kind of bit itchy actually, but I thought maybe you'd like to see something vintage since we're doing a vintage Thunderbirds episode. It's also got all crystals on the bottom. That was Moving Your Dead, one of my favourites. Now, for the next episode, what would you like to see? Do tell me, comment down here. It will be up within a week to 2 weeks. As you know, my brother has been in this week and the last week, so it's kind of been hard for me to cut new videos. I've had to plan some things in advance, so I'm really sorry about that. If there's certain things you wanted to see and they haven't been up because people have been in the house, I'm sorry about that. I can't help that. Thank you very much for being here, everyone. If you'd like to subscribe, here we go. If you'd like to comment, here we go. If you'd like to come and follow me on Instagram or Twitter, here you go. It's all down here. I'm happy to be here for you all. Great Thunderbirds fans. I will see you all again for another Thunderbirds review or WWE or something to do with makeup. Anything. You know what I'm like on this channel. Anything goes. We're random. We love it. See you all later. Bye.